It's the biggest open secret in America that Democrats cheat in elections. This year, by sending out 65 million mail-in ballots, they perpetrated the largest fraud in the history of our country. Democrat officials and politicians in every swing state systematically weakened every measure to combat election fraud. They ensured that there were no identity checks, no signature checks. I want to check a signature, please. I'm sorry, we don't let you do that. No eligibility checks, no nothing. Every single one of you know that if these ballots are properly audited, if the signatures and envelopes were examined, if the envelopes were correlated to the votes, because you'll find there are far more ballots than there are envelopes. All you have to do is count them up. How many ballots do you have? How many envelopes do you have? And if the voter rolls are studied, in other words, studied to check the signature, Miss Smith, oh, it's a totally different signature from 2 years ago, from 6 years ago, from 10 years ago. What's that all about? We will find that hundreds of thousands of ballots were illegally cast in your state and all over the country, by the way. More than enough to give us a total historic victory. We built the greatest military in the world, and the better it is, the less likely it is that we're going to have to use it. But everything that we've achieved together is on the line on June 5th. In this election, you can send a message to the fake news media, and there's a lot of them right back there. And they'll find something wrong with this evening. I don't know what it is, but they'll find something wrong. Maybe it was the person that shouted love. They'll say it was a horrible protester. They'll find something, Kelly and David. They're going to find something. They're looking, they're having a hard time. It's been a love fest. This is a love fest for these two people. But they all want the Silicon Valley censors and the corrupt Democrat political machine. They're partners. You must vote for David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler. Go out and vote. If you don't vote, the socialists and the communists win. They win. Georgia patriots must show up and vote for these two incredible people. And I'm telling you, they're two of the finest people you'll ever meet. The answer to the Democrat fraud is not to stay at home. That's what Nancy Pelosi and Schumer, that's what they want you to do. Stay at home. Just stay at home. If you want to do something to them, I don't want to use the word revenge, but it is a certain revenge. To the Democrats, you show up and vote in record numbers. That's what you have to do. David's opponent, John Ossoff, is a radical left-wing zealot who is very proud to be endorsed by Bernie Sanders, Crazy Bernie. Ossoff supports defunding the police, supports the crazy Green New Deal. That's another beauty. Don't forget, the Green New Deal is really $100 trillion, okay? It's $100 trillion. They don't say that, Louis, do they? They talk about $3 trillion. They got down to $3 trillion. No, it's $100 trillion is what they wanted. That's more money. If our economy was going unbelievable gangbusters for 100 years, no recession, no anything, we couldn't come close to making $100 trillion. They want to rip down buildings and rebuild them with no windows. I like windows. I like big, beautiful windows. He wants to do a total government takeover of health care that will destroy your doctor's offices and rural hospitals. So if you're sick, if you have a cold, go to a hospital, wait online for about 3 days, and hope you get a decent doctor. Ossoff also supports a crippling nationwide lockdown. He wants you to lock your home nice and tight after you're inside of it. And he passes legislation to let hardened criminals go free. Get them out of jail. Get them out of jail. Ossoff will be a complete tool for the radical left donors who are trying to buy Georgia's Senate seats. On January 5th, you must defeat Ossoff and Warnock and send two great people, David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler, back to the Senate. We're thrilled to be joined tonight by some real friends of all of ours, Representatives Doug Collins, who's fantastic. And by the way, I got to tell you, as you know, he and Kelly had a great primary, a very strong primary. They both did fantastically well. and he is on board, and he is one of the greatest advocates I've ever met in Washington. I want to thank Doug Collins. Where's Doug? Thank you, Doug. What a job he does. Thank you. Doug, you want to run for governor in 2 years, buddy? Yeah, good-looking Kelly's opponent, Raphael Warnock, is a dangerous extremist who is radically opposed to your values. He said he believes that, quote, nobody can serve God and the military. Oh, really? An appalling statement that dishonors the memory and generations of American heroes who fought for God and for our country. Raphael Warnock has openly declared his support for socialism, and he has even praised Marxists all over the world. He once hosted the barbaric communist dictator Fidel Castro. He likes Castro. Thinks he was a good man. He was a good guy, he said. He falsely slandered patriotic Americans as racists. He called police officers gangsters, thugs, and bullies. He supports abolishing cash bail. Look at what happened to New York with their cash bail. No cash bail, no bail. Don't worry about it. You killed somebody. Don't worry about it. You know, you're on the honor code. And he's declared, quote, open up the jails, free the violent criminals, and prey on Georgia, families, children. No, you can't do that. This is not for Georgia, I'm telling you. It might be for some places, and I tell you that too. This is not for Georgia. I think Raphael has to move to another state. Try it again. Warnock is strongly anti-Israel, and Warnock's own writings make clear that he believes America is a sinister nation that must be punished. But we're watching this so closely. We have everybody watching. You got to get out and vote. Let them steal Georgia again. You'll never be able to look yourself in the mirror. We have to hold the line. And you have two of the greatest people on earth. We have to hold the line. Make sure that you and everyone else know that you have to register to vote before this Monday, December 7th. Is that right? Monday, December 7th. You have to register to vote. Of course, you'll probably be allowed to if you're a Democrat. You know, they don't have any time limit. And after we win, we need to pass landmark election reform, including voter ID. Is that so bad? Residency verification. Like, we live in the country, we live in the state. Citizenship confirmation. They want to say, oh, he doesn't have to be a citizen. You got to see what's voting. They're not citizens. You're a citizen? No, I'm not citizen. You speak English? No English. Speak no English. Oh, you're voting? Yeah. What? Why not? This is the craziest thing. You know, the Democrat National Committee had their convention, and they had a picture. You couldn't get in unless you had a picture. You had a photo ID. But when it comes to the most important thing, voting, they don't want to do it. And they know. They know exactly. We just can't let that happen. I've only been doing this for a short time. Believe me, this is something we're going to do because we can't allow it to happen. And complete overhaul of our election security systems, because right now, Dominion is a joke, okay? Not a very funny joke. It's a disgrace that in 2020, no state in America even makes any real attempt to verify that those who cast ballots by mail are eligible and lawfully registered voters. We will not bend, we will not break, we will not yield. We will never give in, we will never give up, and we will never back down. We will never, ever surrender. Because we are Americans, and our hearts bleed red, white, and blue.
I did try to teach people to make good choices. That's all I've ever tried to do, but thank you. Such a great statement. Thank you.
Mr. President, Mitch McConnell says COVID relief may be in sight. Will you support this bill? Do you support
I will, and I think they're getting very close, and I want it to happen, and I believe that they're getting very close to a deal. Yeah.
And you'll support it?
I will, absolutely. Yeah.
Mr. President, can I ask you to respond to the comments by your Attorney General, who indicated he has not seen, at this point, any evidence of fraud enough to overturn the election results? Given that, why is now not the time to concede?
Well, he hasn't done anything, so he hasn't looked. When he looks, he'll see the kind of evidence that right now you're seeing in the Georgia Senate. You know, they're going through hearings right now in Georgia, and they're finding tremendous volumes. So they haven't looked very hard, which is a disappointment, to be honest with you, because it's massive fraud. Whether you go to Wisconsin, where we just filed a case, or Michigan, or if you look at what's happening in Georgia, as an example, or Pennsylvania, if you look at Nevada, which is moving along very rapidly, or Arizona, you saw those numbers come out yesterday, we found massive fraud, and in other states also. This is probably the most fraudulent election that anyone's ever seen.
Do you still have confidence in Bill Barr?
Ask me that in a number of weeks from now. They should be looking at all of this fraud. This is not civil. He thought it was civil. This is not civil. This is criminal stuff. This is very bad criminal stuff. So I just say this. We went through an election. At 10 o'clock, everybody said that was an easy victory for Trump. All of a sudden, the votes started disappearing, miraculously disappearing. We found much of it, but we found far more votes than we need in almost all of these states. And I think I can say in all of these states, far more votes than we need to win every one of them. And I want to just thank my team, because my team is doing an unbelievable job. And more importantly, I want to thank the 74 million plus people that voted, which, Lou, is the largest amount of people that a sitting president has ever had, 74 million plus. And because the level of loyalty, I've never seen anything like it. All over the country, they know it was a fixed election. It was a rigged election. They know it, and I appreciate their support. Thank you all very much.
President Trump there with those comments as he continues to be at large with his own DOJ. President Trump says